Chattanooga, Tennessee is a growing city that sits along the Tennessee River. Just off the riverbank, the towering glass spires of the Tennessee Aquarium, home to over 12,000 animals, ranging across nearly 800 species.
You may have wondered, where does a big aquarium get all the fish? Well, it used to be that they go out in the ocean with nets and they had to collect them, but these days, the Tennessee Aquarium is growing their own.
Inside, you'll find one of the largest freshwater exhibits in the world, as well as saltwater exhibits, reptiles, and even some mammals. But perhaps the most impressive part of this aquarium is the giant Secret Reef exhibit, modeled after the Flower Garden Bank's National Marine Sanctuary. This massive tank holds 618,000 gallons of water and a wide variety of marine life, from fish and rays to sharks and sea turtles. Because the fish in the aquarium are always spawning and producing eggs, the biologists here developed a unique way of collecting those eggs from the Secret Reef exhibit and raising them to adulthood so they could be released back into the place where they were born. To show us how this process works, we head to the top of the exhibit to meet Kyle McFeeters, the senior aquarist in charge of the breeding program.
So, Kyle, can you walk me through this process?
Yeah, we have the egg collector in the exhibit right now, which these fish generally broadcast spawn.
Yep.
So sperm and eggs in the water column, when those eggs are fertilized, they float. So this device we've made will skim the surface of the tank to pull those eggs off the top of the water. So the exhibit water leaves the tank pretty much through a surface skimmer right under our feet.
Yep.
So the water's being drawn over here already,
right.
And then this surface skimming box, it'll collect just a small portion of what is being broadcast into the tank.
Kyle carefully lifts the egg collector so we can check for some newly captured eggs.
Pretty much what we're looking for is on the screen. When you see anything, like there's some junk, some detritus, when you see like something reflective like that,
yeah,
that's going to be the eggs when they're kind of reflecting the light there.
Okay, yeah, I see them.
Very small. This isn't a huge collection. This isn't a lot of eggs. There's some over here. See that little bit right there?
We make our way to the small tanks that house all of the collected eggs, as well as the young fish that have hatched.
You're not just going to pour them in there?
So we're going to let them float in there. We're going to add that little bit of tank water like we were talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So bring the salinity up, let those eggs float a little better.
Okay.
And then we're actually going to transfer them from the surface of the water in there to a clean bucket where we'll do it again.
Okay.
Just to keep as much debris from the Secret Reef out of this tank as we can.
Right. So, Kyle, are you making beer?
I am, exactly. Now, this is algae. This is the basic building block of our whole process to grow these fish. So we have to start with the smallest piece of the puzzle, that's the algae. So this particular algae is called Isochrysis algae, and it was chosen for its good nutritional profile. So the algae, it's very sensitive, which you might think, you put a jug of water in the sun, you're gonna grow algae, right? But not good, special, nutritious algae. So the algae that we grow, it's very fragile, so we have to sterilize everything, and we have to filter our air down to 1/4 of a micron. So the air going in is very, very clean, and the water itself is sterile to make sure we don't get anything growing in there but Isochrysis algae. So it's a very thick, nutrient-wise algae. So we're gonna take a dark bottle like this, produce 2 light bottles, and then what's left, feed to our copepods. So it's an endless cycle. Every day we're taking a dark bottle, making light bottles, and feeding out what's left. So in about a week, a really light bottle will become a dark bottle. So every day we'll make algae, use some, and then in roughly a week, it's 6 to 9 days, those thin bottles will bloom up into these really dark bottles.
They use the algae to feed a tank of copepods, small bug-like crustaceans that become food for the young fish. Once these fish are big enough, they can be moved downstairs to an exhibit visible to the public while they continue their growth. Kyle has me fill up a bucket from the Secret Reef to help acclimate the new fish.
Is it because this water is a different temperature? Different
temperature, pH, those are the main things that we're concerned with. They should be very similar, but just to make sure it's an easy transition, we'll do this. This is a pretty gentle acclimation for them.
While we wait for the fish to acclimate, we suit up to prepare for their relocation. We move them into the freshwater dip and wait for any potential parasites to die off. The fish can't stay here long and have to be moved back into salt water within a few minutes. Cameraman Tim and I hop into the water while Kyle grabs the first volunteer.
Okay, here we go. Get in there, buddy. Okay. There we go, there we go. Okay. Off the boat. Let's do it.
Mark Craven, the dive safety officer, is helping us find a nice spot on the bottom of the reef to release the fish, ensuring that they're safe from any hungry sharks looking for a snack. There are plenty of small places for these fish to hide while they continue to grow. 33 feet down, we find a well-protected area to let them go. The reef in this exhibit provides lots of small nooks as habitat for fish, just like the real thing. On the way back, we take the scenic route to get a better look at some of these awesome sharks. There are sand tiger sharks, always a favorite in large aquaria because they look so mean, but they're actually really mellow. There are also sandbar sharks, distinguishable by their tall dorsal fin. And with that, these fish have completed their year-long journey and finally returned to the place of their birth. The Tennessee Aquarium is an icon of Chattanooga. Not only is it an impressive facility with a huge number of amazing exhibits, but their biologists have significantly advanced the sustainability of aquariums by developing innovative ways of building their own fish populations without having to take them from the wild. A great conservation effort for the blue world.